date files. She's out there searching for the right man, and all she's encountered are unemployed liars or men trying to cop a feel. They all have been a disaster. She continues her endless search in hopes that the right dude is out there.
Hi, welcome to the third week of the Date Files. So this week, the guy in the hot seat, his nickname is Mr. STD Test Boy. A little backstory for this guy. So this was quite a little while ago. He was 55 years old. We lived an hour away from each other. He was a construction worker. We talked for maybe about 2 weeks before we decided to meet in person. When we did meet in person, finally, we met at a restaurant bar. When we did meet, we met at a restaurant slash bar that's really popular in the area that's close to him. So I got there first, like I usually do, to kind of scope out the place and get someplace that I'm comfortable with. So I saw him walking up through the windows, and I must say I was highly impressed. He was dressed nicely. He actually looked like he was going on a date. He had clean clothes, which is, surprisingly, that's not too common on dates to have shirts that don't have holes and rips and stains all over them. So he was looking nice. I was impressed. The first thing I noticed about him were the size of his arms. His arms were huge. He had this bodybuilder physique. His arms were like the size of my legs. They were amazing. So we had lunch, great conversations. He ordered way too much food, but we made a joke about it. It was fun. And then we walked around for a little bit, and then we decided to go to the casino. Apparently, he's a regular at the casino because all the waitresses and the bar staff knew him by name. They said, "Oh, your usual. Oh, you have a friend this time. Oh, she's beautiful, da 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 da." So we laughed. We were playing some slot machines. I actually ended up winning over $450 that day. So I was pretty excited. I was like, hey, I'm having a good date. I just won over $400. I was like, this is a good day. So we were talking, and we were talking about the next time we would see each other. So we're actually going to see each other the next week. We're going to do dinner and movies. During the week when we were talking on the phone, we talked about every night, text throughout the day. He mentions that he sees things progressing between the two of us and that he would like us both to get an STD test before anything got physical. This actually was pretty exciting for me because he was, taking our health into consideration. He was being responsible. He wanted to do the right thing. So we both knew what we were getting into. So I was like, hey, I'm all for that. Let's do this. So as I'm talking on the phone with him, I'm making my appointment to get tested by the end of the week. And so I get tested. I go down, get everything. I show him my rapid HIV test. It was negative. As I'm driving home, I stop by his work site and I bring him a coffee and we discuss it. And I said, okay, so it's your turn to make the appointment. He says, yeah, I'll get to it. I just don't have time right now. So I was like, okay. So the next week we go out, we do dinner and a movie. And during dinner, I asked him about the test again. I was like, hey, have you gotten your test done yet? And he's like, no, I haven't, just haven't had time. So I didn't really push the issue. Like a month and a half later, he still hasn't gotten the test. I was like, dude, you've seen my results. I've gotten my test like the week you mentioned it. I was like, what is taking so long? It is a 1 hour appointment. If that, depending on your doctor, it's probably even less than that. He just keeps making excuses. He's working too much and all that. So I share the website to the Planned Parenthood. I was like, look, they have Saturday appointments. I was like, this makes it even easier for you. And he says he'll get to it and all that. So I'm like, all right, I won't push the issue. So we go on a couple more dates. Now it's been about 2 months. And then he finally invites me over to his house. He's going to barbecue steaks. And I was like, okay. So we get to his house. After about an hour, I bring up the subject again. I was like, hey, when are you going to get your test? I was like, I've had mine. And he gives the same old excuse. I don't know. I don't have time. I don't know. I'll get to it. Then he says he doesn't really need to get one because he knows he's clean, and he was just wanting me to get it because he didn't trust me. And I was like, dude, I'm the one that's been single for 6 years. I was like, I don't think I have anything to worry about. So I continue to tell him, yes, you still need to get the test because it was your idea in the first place. So why wouldn't you get the test if it was your idea? Like, this isn't just for me. So he's like, oh, no, I know I'm clean, so I don't need to get it. And I was like, well, thanks for the offer for dinner. I'm leaving because obviously you don't trust me for some reason. And you think you're above like your own thing, like your own actions. I say, I tell him I need a guy that's going to be able to follow through on what he says he's going to do. I was like, you mentioned this like 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was, that you wanted to do this before we got physical. I'm not talking to anybody else. You're not seeing anybody else or talking to anybody else. So I don't see why this is such an issue for you to go get a doctor's appointment and get tested. I was like, because you're not going to get anything physical until you get the test. And so I leave that day from the barbecue before we even had steaks as like, call me when you can follow through on your words. So I didn't hear from him for about 2 months afterwards. And he says he misses me. He wants to go out on a date again. I asked him about the test. I was like, have you gotten the test? And he's like, why do you keep bringing this up? He's like, what is the deal with it? And I was like, it was your idea in the first place. I was like, I don't see why it's my idea. I'm like, you're the one that suggested it. I followed through with it. You have not. I was like, so until you get that test done, I was like, we're not going to be able to see each other. So he finally says he makes the test. He is going to do a Saturday testing date. So I'm like, great, thanks. And so we do make plans the following week that we're going to see each other because he's going to get tested. So on Saturday, he tells me, hey, I'm at the appointment. I'm waiting. He's telling me all about it. And he says, hey, just got the rapid HIV one and it's negative. I'm like, okay, great. Let me see it. He says, you don't need to see it. It's negative. And I was like, it's not that hard. You can literally show me what it is. I'm like, you get a my portal, like my app portal, whatever, take a screenshot. Nope, don't know how to do it. Just believe me that it's negative. So I kind of drop it for that time. By the following Wednesday, I ask him if he's had the rest of his test results because they usually only take a couple days. He says, yes, he's gotten them all and he's perfectly clean like you thought it would be. So we can go on our date. And I said, okay, well, screenshot your results to me. I was like, I want to see them for myself. I was like, I shared mine. You saw my whole portal and everything. I was like, let me see yours. And he's like, no, you don't need to see them. He's like, just they're fine. And I was like, what is the issue with showing me your results? I was like, something obviously you're trying to hide. I was like, it's not that much. So after beating that dead horse for a while, I was like, look, I was like, obviously you're hiding something. You're not a man of your actions. Like I've been pointing out for the past like 4 or 5 months at this point. I was like, so you know what? I was like, I can't do this. I was like, because obviously you're hiding something. I was like, I was forthcoming. I was up front with you. I was like, you want to hide something. I was like, I'm not comfortable with that and getting physical with you. So we ended it. And so this was about a year ago. So he did finally contact me about a month ago from the airing date of this episode and said that he's gotten back together with a previous girlfriend because she has the same results. And I was like, oh, I thought you were clean. He goes, well, apparently not. And so I was like, oh, I was like, but you were so eager to do something physical when you knew you weren't clean. I was like, that's kind of wrong, don't you think, that you were willing to spread stuff around? Whatever, he to this day he never told me what, he just said something wasn't cleared. So as my best friend would say, no thank you, I don't need that herpasyphalitis. So I wish him and his former ex-girlfriend, who probably gave him whatever disease in the first place, well, and I'm glad they can continue doing whatever they need to do. So now it's time for my soapbox, people. So, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself, protect yourself, go get tested on a regular basis. Don't take someone's word that they're clean. Follow your gut. If they suggest it, I was like, actually, you guys, everyone should be suggesting it before you guys get physical. If someone doesn't want to show you the results, that's probably a red flag, and there's a reason why they don't want to show you the results. Planned Parenthood makes it super easy. Your doctors make it super easy to do a whole blood panel. So just get tested. Always use protection. You never know what's out there, especially in this dating world of the hookup culture. So be prepared. Just get tested and be protected. Don't be stupid. No one needs to be spreading any more germs around there. So there's my soapbox for the day. Next week, we discuss Mr. Bike Boy in the hot seat of the date files.